Hello and welcome to the special edition of Follow the Money. I'm Robert Tan. Here we uncover the stories and strategies of how money really moves. Today on this special edition of Follow the Money, we focus on starting your financial journey from building a portfolio to understanding life insurance. And joining us this afternoon is Carla Gonzalez-Chong, Chief Client Experience and Marketing Officer of Sun Life Philippines, to share tips, debunk VUL myths, and highlight Sun Life's 130 years of stability and credibility. Good afternoon, Carla. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Robert. Thank you for having me.
Now, Carla, for those who are just starting their financial journey, those who are starting their financial portfolio, now, what are the first steps you would recommend to them at that stage and point?
So I think the very first foundation is to build their emergency fund first. Previously, it was 3 to 6 months was the prescription. But as we know, the pandemic happened. So we found that 6 months isn't enough. So to have a really good buffer, it's now 6 months to a year of emergency funds. Once you have established that, the second tip really is to build your financial foundation. And a good financial foundation is not just an emergency fund, but ensuring also, especially if you're a breadwinner, that you have life and health insurance. We know that if you're a breadwinner, people that rely on your income for their living expenses. And so having that source of funds, once you're taken out of the picture, available to your family, that is also something that needs to be established.
Now, Carla, before the pandemic happened, insurance penetration was not high yet here in the Philippines. And when the pandemic happened, it didn't do that well. Now, how are we trying to get back on track and trying to educate more, even the younger generation, into seeing insurance not as an expense, but more of a something that will help them stabilize their future, to help them if they need, let's say, extra cash in the future?
I think what the pandemic brought us is a heightened financial awareness, because now people see the value of having life and health insurance. Now, we want, of course, as many Filipinos to be insured in the same way that Filipinos, when they buy a car, instantly they buy an auto insurance. And so the most precious asset that anyone has
is life,
is actually
right?
life and the breadwinner, because it's the breadwinner ensures that the family is sustained. And so the way that we're encouraging more younger people to look at starting their financial journeys is we develop what we call a board game called Play for Life. It makes basic financial concepts more easily digestible, and we made it fun and engaging so that it simulates real-life financial decisions, even introducing people to simple forms of financial solutions like life insurance, health insurance, and even investment products like mutual funds. So it's our way of bridging that conversation.
True, because sometimes it can be a little bit technical in terms of your insurance when you present. Now, what inspired this kind of innovation now in trying to capture the younger market?
Well, first off, it feels intimidating to talk about money, especially in an intimate setting. And so we thought, how do we make the conversation around money fun and engaging? And so we saw an opportunity as more people, and especially the young ones, getting into game nights, playing board games. So we saw it as an opportunity to engage. That's why we created the game called Play for Life.
Now, when you have these games, these making it simple, what kind of conversations do the life insurance agents have with potential clients?
So what's nice about Play for Life is before you start the game, each player is asked, what's your financial goal? So it simulates really a conversation with an advisor what a financial plan should look like. So you set the financial goal at the onset, and then you choose your occupation. So it gives you important because that's how you earn money, right? And so once you've chosen your financial goal, you choose your occupation, and then you have income and expenses. So as you go through the game, we simulate life events. An example of a life event would be like a financial windfall. If you're an employee, of course, this is the season of Christmas bonus. So we simulate something like that. or like a life event wherein someone gets sick or someone dies. And so those financial events are scattered throughout the board game, and you're given a decision to either purchase an insurance product or draw out from your savings or even think of other options. And so it simulates real life events that makes you think about your financial journey.
True. Now, do these events, does this allow you to dig deeper, to get more intimate with potential clients and really get to what they need and what they want in life and, changing their mindset? Again, like we were discussing a while ago, that usually they see it as an expense and not as a need.
It becomes a thought starter. So what I mentioned a while ago, the foundation of a good financial plan is always an emergency fund. So that game, as I mentioned, simulates real life events. So what if suddenly a family member gets sick? If you don't have an emergency fund, where will you draw from it? So it provides questions, thought starters to those playing the games that, oh, probably I need that because these are real life events that might happen to me and my loved ones.
Now, do these kind of events also attract the older generation who really thought of it an expense and now thinking more about the future, their life? Do these events also attract them and get them to really realize the importance of insurance?
Yes, because we've actually created customized board games. So there's a board game that's specially for business owners. There's a board game that we've created for overseas Filipinos. So, and we've partnered with like-minded organizations who help us create awareness on that board game. An example would be our partnership with the Blas Ople Foundation. So we find whenever they do their Marino Day or their events wherein they have overseas Filipino workers visiting the halls, they would actually play their game, and we find that it starts the conversation around financial planning.
So continuous talaga yung innovation, and when you look at the different markets, you really try to tap that and build the game around them.
Yes, and that's what the game does because it simulates the events of an overseas Filipino life event. Similarly to a business owner, what are the financial decisions that they face over their course of building their business? So those are the things that we baked into the game so that when they play the game, they're able to think about those questions and even the answers that they need to have with a financial advisor from Sun Life.
That's a really nice innovation when you look at it, because sometimes when we're too busy with work, too busy with life, we lose ourselves when we forget what's important. Now, besides that, what else how do you arm your financial advisors for them to go out there and really provide the kind of education and awareness, because insurance penetration here in the Philippines is still very low.
That's correct. But I think there's good opportunities because the insurance industry has actually grown. In fact, in the third quarter of this year, we saw a rise, a growth in the insurance industry in terms of premiums. There's a 13% increase versus last year. And we've been seeing also the popularity of products such as VUL. And so what Sun Life is trying to do is to ensure that the market, our Filipino consumers, are familiar with these products so that they can make good financial decisions.
Yes.
And when they talk to a financial advisor, they already know what they want. So a particular example that we're doing is this education campaign around VUL, because we've seen that some Filipinos are asking, what do I do with my VUL policy?
Yes.
How do I maximize the value? This is the fund performance currently. What should I be doing in terms of next best action? So we're arming our advisors with product trainings, ensuring that they address our clients' questions, and even doing social media content, because we know social media content is one way
It's
of
very
raising
critical
awareness.
right now, technology, digital media, and
Right.
AI. Now, Carla, for those who don't really know what VUL is, those who still think that insurance is term insurance, life insurance na walang investment na kasama, can you just explain a little bit to our viewers what VUL is and how they can adapt to the new times right now in really creating financial stability for themselves.
Okay, so a VUL product, or what we call in the insurance industry a variable unit link insurance product, is a life insurance product first. Now, back in the 90s, I believe, this kind of product was introduced. What's in the market previously were your traditional life insurance product where there's a fixed coverage and you get fixed guaranteed cash benefits.
And you as the policyholder will not actually benefit from it, and it's your family when you,
Correct.
It's a very morbid thing to say, but when you pass. But now it's totally different. The innovations in insurance are different. Yes, continue.
Yes, so for VUL, it's different because it's an innovation in that it is a protection and investment product in one. Now, what's unique about the VUL product is it gives the client the flexibility to adjust their coverage through top-ups because they can invest more, and so their coverage will be higher. They also have the flexibility to choose the fund that they want to invest in terms of their premiums. So depending on the client's risk tolerance, their appetite,
they can choose.
their time horizon, they can choose which funds they would like their premiums to be invested in. So if they want access to the local markets, we have the VUL Equity Fund. If they want the bond market, we also have bonds. And currently, Sun Life is now offering our global funds, which allows also our clients and policyholders to access the global markets.
Is that something new?
Yes, it's something that we've just launched, I believe, last year. So we're giving our clients the opportunity, if they don't want to invest in the local market, they can also invest in the equities market of other countries. Now, a VUL is an insurance product first.
Yes.
So the main benefit that you're really purchasing from a VUL policy is the life insurance coverage. Now, a portion of your premiums go now to the fund of your choosing, whether it be a local fund or a global fund. You dictate which fund you like. Now, the difference is the fund value can potentially grow over time. It depends on the market movement. This fund value is where some of our clients draw from if they need money for a certain life milestone or if they just want to keep it for a certain amount of time. Now, unlike a traditional life insurance product, your benefits are fixed. You don't have that flexibility. If your policy says you receive 6% of the face amount after 6 years, that's all you're getting. But with a VUL fund,
it can go
it can grow higher or it can even grow lower. Because
depends
it
on the market.
depends on the market performance, depends on the fund of your choosing.
So you can choose.
It's very flexible in that way, unlike a traditional life insurance product.
Yun lang yun. That's it.
That's it,
And you don't benefit from it. It's your family that benefits from it. Now, Carla, we still have a lot to unpack, a lot of things that we need to educate our viewers about how important life insurance, not only life insurance, but also the investment part of it. But we'll just take a short break. Follow the money. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the special edition of Follow the Money. Still with us is Carla Gonzalez-Chong, Chief Client Experience and Marketing Officer of Sun Life Philippines. Now, Carla, tell us about, let's say, your own experience in building your own financial portfolio. How did you get into this? And for those who are just starting, what kind of advice would you give them when they don't really know that much about what life insurance and VUL can provide?
I think the very first step is be very clear on your goals, what your goals are. So when I started my financial journey, I just really wanted to grow my money. I didn't have any dependents. I was single at that time. And I had the goal of purchasing my very first property. So when I talked to an advisor, I said, okay, these are my goals. What can you suggest in terms of financial solutions? And so my very first financial product was actually a mutual fund. And I was very aggressive at that time. And so I invested it into the equity market. So I had an equity mutual fund. And then eventually I built on that portfolio. Now, after securing my first mutual fund, because it was very, I would say, affordable for me, and we did it through salary deduction, so I was able to invest. My second financial product was actually a life insurance product, a traditional life product. The reason why was because as I grew older, I realized I wanted to contribute to the household expenses
Yes.
with my mother and my father.
Sometimes kasi it happens too late na no? Oo. But
Right.
it's never too late naman to have insurance.
Correct. And also at that time, I said, okay, I was 25, and I said, oh, life insurance premiums become more expensive as you age.
Yes. Oh,
And
totoo yan. Oo.
and so I took that opportunity because I saw an affordable traditional life insurance product that gave me a good amount of coverage for just a very affordable premium. So that was my second product. And then after which I started adding on that coverage because I realized that coverage wasn't enough
Oh, mas maganda
as
yes.
opposed to my annual income. And so I said I wanted to add to my insurance coverage. But this time around, instead of just pure protection, I also wanted some guaranteed cash benefits
At least
that I can
complete
enjoy.
package na siya.
Right,
Oo.
right. And then afterwards, I continue adding on to my financial portfolio. I added a VUL product because I wanted that flexibility of ensuring where I want my premiums are invested in. I also wanted to have that flexibility of increasing my coverage without having to purchase another product. And so that was the reason why I got a VUL.
Now, Carla, having started as a client and starting
Right.
your journey into financial stability with insurance, and now you're now trying to educate people now into getting this. Now, what kind of misconceptions or let's say myths that are still out there about VUL that are very common that people still don't realize that the true value of having this kind of instrument?
I think the first misconception is it's an investment product. It's an insurance product first and an investment component second. So it means that when you buy a VUL policy, you're actually securing the lives of your dependents and your family members. So regardless if the market performs badly, you're assured that you're covered throughout your lifetime. So I think that's the very first thing that needs to be, I would say, debunked with a VUL product. The second is there's this misconception also that lugi ka sa VUL. And I think that mindset, we need to reframe that mindset because when you buy an insurance product, you don't buy it because you want to die soon, right?
No, no.
So
Nobody wants that.
Nobody
Yes.
wants that, right? So it's an investment for the future because you're ensuring that if you're taken out of the taken out of the picture, your family will continue
Secured,
to
yes.
move on
True.
in terms of their income, in terms of their expenses, and whatever financial plans that you made for your family will still continue. And then I think the third misconception about VUL is that if the market does not perform, then I wouldn't be able to get the value. Now, we know markets
Are volatile.
are volatile.
Yeah.
There are cycles,
Yes.
right? Pre-pandemic, we were enjoying a very good equities market. And
Then
in fact,
pandemic came.
pandemic hit, and then suddenly the valuations are down. And so, depending on where your fund, your premiums are allocated
Yes.
in terms of the fund, there's still an opportunity to be had in terms of growth potential. As I mentioned a while ago, there are now a variety of fund
Yes.
options that the policyholder can choose from. If they're of the conservative type, they can always opt for the more conservative funds, like a bond fund, a bond
but
fund.
more on a long-term basis. Now,
That's
Carla,
correct.
I just want to get into that part. What kind of products does Sun Life provide now for those, let's say, who want long-term, short-term? Usually there's mga 3 years to pay, 5 years
That's
to
right.
pay, 10 years to pay. What is the conversation usually to the potential clients of your insurance, and what do you see usually for the short term, the mid term, and the long term? Who are the target markets that you try to attract?
So in terms of our client profile, a majority of our clients are now millennials. And I think this is because they're at their life stage where they start to build their families, they have more dependents, they're taking care of their children, at the same time taking care of aging parents. And so they recognize the value of life insurance. Now, depending on their goals, whether it be for income protection or they want to build a fund for their life milestones like education of the children or retirement or even a fund that they can draw from in case of health emergencies. So most of our products, insurance products at least, are long-term in nature. Now, we do also have financial products which we call mutual funds and UITFs. Depending on the fund, that can be also for a short-term or a mid-term time horizon. But of course, if you're investing for a short-term or a medium-term time horizon, the funds are very limited. So most of our products really are made for long-term.
Now, tell us more about the new market that you're creating. Now, for those who are investing, usually before it's all local AAA stocks. Now you're saying you're going global. Can they now mix and match that into the VUL? Let's say partly local funds and partly global funds.
Yes.
Does that work?
That works, Robert, because a VL policy, so once you purchase one, you can tell your advisor which fund you would like to invest a portion of your premiums in. So, in fact, you can tell the advisor, okay, I want 80% in global funds, I want 20% in local market. And then you can do the fund switch and the allocation every year.
Every year.
So Sun Life clients have the privilege of 4 fund switches in a year. That's free. So you can actually do your switching through your advisor and soon through our mobile app.
That's a very good innovation because the norm was, when you have the VULs and UITF, it's based on the local stock market, the AAA and the bond market. So they can now have, best of both worlds.
Correct. And in fact, our VL policies, this is also something that I would advise clients and would-be clients. It's a high commitment product, meaning I would highly encourage our clients to do their policy reviews every year with their advisor, even as frequent as quarterly, especially to ensure that the fund value is performing as to your expectations. And then if it's not, then you do the fund switch. Or you do top-ups for additional fund allocation in certain funds that you're interested in.
Now, with this new movement, this new innovation of being able to invest on the local stock market and global, do you see now the VULs becoming more and more popular, let's say in the next 2 to 3 years?
In fact, in the insurance industry, it's still very popular. In fact, a driver of growth of the insurance industry is the VUL product. And so I think it's a good starter product because it's affordable. That's one. You get the best of both worlds because you have a insurance protection, at the same time you have access to investing. Apart from that, it's very flexible. So meaning, if for example, you suffer a certain emergency and you're not able to pay your premiums on time, with a traditional life insurance product, your policy will lapse. But with a VUL policy, you can opt for a premium holiday and say, okay, I won't be able to pay this year my premiums. Can you get it from the fund value?
Yeah, that
so
helps
that's
a lot,
possible.
yes.
Yeah, so that's possible. Apart from that, it's also possible that if probably the fund of your choosing has grown over time, you also have the option to redeem against the fund value. You can also, if for example, you have a windfall, you can also do a top-up, which means your insurance coverage will be higher and your potential to growing the fund is also higher.
Now, Carla, tell us more about what Sun Life is doing in your continuous innovation, the continuous movement in creating more products and trying to get, be more creative in trying to educate the younger generation and even the older generation. What are you doing now to help Filipinos be more financial literate, more financial stable, stability in the future? what are the next things that's happening right now that Sun Life is doing?
So first off, I mentioned a while ago about our board game,
Yes, the board, yes.
Play for Life. That's one of the things that we innovated last year and we continued until this year. A second is we partner with like-minded organizations that share the same values as Sun Life. Two of those would be Go Negosyo, who also would want to be able to educate business owners in terms of their finances, not just in building their business, but also ensuring that their personal financial plans are in place. Second, I've mentioned also a very valued organization, which is Blas Ople Foundation. They're helping us reach our overseas Filipino countrymen because they always have that dream of
Yes.
coming home for good.
Plus, a lot of the OFWs are really looking for ways to invest their money, but sometimes they
Correct.
don't have, people to go to. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been very fortunate with the Blas Ople Foundation. They've invited us in all of their community events.
Yes.
And so these organizations also help us spread awareness on financial literacy.
Carla, I wish we had more time to educate more of our viewers on the importance of life insurance, but that's all we have now. But, what's your final advice now to those watching today about what Sun Life is doing and the kind of education and the kind of innovations that you're doing?
So I think as a final advice, what I would say to our Filipino viewing public is it's never too late to start a financial
Yes.
journey. It doesn't matter where you are in your particular life stage. The most important thing is really to get started.
Carla, thank you for sharing your insights, and hopefully a lot more of the younger generation and even our generation, the
Yes.
older generation, see the value and really try to find financial stability and not see it as an expense. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Robert. My pleasure.
And when it comes to managing your finances, success isn't just about earning more. It's about discipline, planning, and making every peso count. As John C. Maxwell once said, a budget is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And as we wrap up today's special edition, our conversation with Carla Gonzalez-Chong reminds us that building financial security isn't just about numbers. It's about strategy, discipline, and knowing where to start. From starting a portfolio and talking to a financial advisor to understanding the role of life insurance and VUL plans, Carla shared insights that can help Filipinos make smarter, long-term decisions. I'm Robert Tan. Stay curious, stay sharp, and always follow the money.